Have you ever wondered why some people seem to just, navigate life's ups and downs with this kind of innate sense of joy, while others, well, they feel perpetually caught, sort of bound? Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into some really profound ancient wisdom, looking at insights from the Gita verses. We want to explore how we might unlock the secret to, well, a truly joyful existence.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is how these verses, they actually lay out a complete framework. It's for understanding our place in the universe, and maybe more importantly, how that understanding can profoundly shift our whole experience of life. We'll be exploring some fundamental truths today about reality, the self, and the nature of action itself.
Okay, let's definitely unpack this. Our mission then is to understand how realizing the truth of the supreme reality, our own true self, and the world around us, how that can lead to a genuinely joyful life, how it can transform our entire perspective. So where do we even begin with something this big?
Well, the verses suggest we start with the concept of Brahman. It's described as the indestructible entity, the ultimate reality. Think of it as the conscious principle, pure joy itself. It's unchanging, undestroyable. It really forms the basis of all creation.
Basis of all creation. Wow.
Okay, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, the creation itself with all its constant change, its cycles of dissolution and manifestation, that's actually seen as an expression of Brahman's joy.
An expression of joy, not just some random process.
Exactly. And here's where it gets personal. While our body and mind, they're made of, let's say, inert objects, they reflect the sentiency of Brahman. That reflection is what makes us feel sentient, alive. In us, this spark of Brahman, this consciousness, is known as Atman, the self, our true self.
Okay, so Brahman is the ultimate reality, this sort of ocean of joy, and Atman is that same joy, that same consciousness within us. Right. But then, here's the question I always come back to. If that's our true nature, why do we so often feel, stuck, caught in suffering? It sounds beautiful, this inherent joy, but the verses also talk about being bound, don't they? And that's where karma comes in.
Exactly right. This is where it gets really interesting and practical. The text tells us that while creation's purpose is inherently joyful living, human beings specifically get bound to the world by karma.
And karma isn't just any action, is it?
No, it's described as the action that brings about the origin of beings, action born from our deep-seated likes and dislikes, our attachments and aversions. And that kind of action, that drive, is what causes suffering and keeps us tied to the cycle.
So striving for things, wanting things, avoiding others, that's the mechanism of binding.
That's a good way to put it. The attachment to the outcome, the constant push and pull based on desire, that's the core issue highlighted here.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, unfortunately. So how do we break free? If our actions, driven by these likes and dislikes, bind us, what's the path out?
Well, the verses introduce something called Upāsanā Yoga. It's a practice, a form of meditation, really. You focus on God or Brahman itself, or even personal deities you resonate with. It's presented as a powerful tool to gain some control over our thoughts, over that restless mind.
Meditation to control thoughts. Okay.
Initially, people might even use Upāsanā for, worldly gains, maybe seeking wealth or fame, things like that. But the idea is, with growing knowledge, with deeper understanding, they start to see the futility of chasing those temporary things.
So the practice itself leads to a shift in perspective.
Yes, the focus shifts naturally towards spiritual progress, towards mental maturity. It's a gradual refinement.
So it's not just about controlling thoughts in the moment, but this leads towards gaining ultimate knowledge. Is that the end goal?
That's the ultimate goal described, yes. Gaining that profound ultimate knowledge. And the verses make a pretty bold promise. After achieving this knowledge, one lives a joyful life, completely free from that binding attachment to the world.
Free from attachment. What does that actually look like, feel like? Does the world change?
The implications are huge. It's not that the world outside changes, but your entire inner experience of it transforms. The text uses analogies, like the world shifting from a source of suffering into something more like a theme park.
A theme park?
Yeah, or life itself becomes like a picnic. Imagine experiencing everything, the good, the bad, the challenging, with a sense of wonder, maybe, full presence. Instead of being constantly anxious about what's next or clinging to past pleasures or fearing future pains.
So engaging with life fully, but without the emotional baggage, the suffering tied to outcome.
Exactly. That's the perspective shift. It comes from truly understanding Brahman Atman and seeing the world itself as just an expression, a play of that ultimate joy.
Wow. Okay. So this deep dive really reveals a profound truth then, realizing the reality of Brahman and our own true self, Atman, and seeing the world as its joyful expression that fundamentally transforms our experience. It leads to lasting joy, not just fleeting happiness.
Precisely. It's about uncovering a state that's already inherent within us. And this, it brings us to a final thought, something for you to maybe ponder on your own journey. We've talked about how karma, our actions driven by likes and dislikes, inevitably binds us to the world. But what if? What if performing those very same actions, the everyday things we all do, but doing them without that intense feeling of, I am the doer, I need this outcome? What if that shift in perspective could ultimately reveal that, in reality, we were never truly the doer, never truly bound in the first place? Just something to think about.